Bronzer and blush are great products. They're my favorites. I want to show you how to select and apply them properly for the days when you're just not feeling your best. Bronzer 101. What I want to tell you about bronzer, the reason I love bronzer so much is because it's everything. You could use it to look healthier, give yourself a healthy glow. You use it to even out your skin. You could use it on a neck that's a little whiter than the rest of your body. But I love bronzer because I think of it as a tint to the skin. As a makeup artist, I'm in control of whoever I make up. And if they're not looking right, I usually grab the bronzer. Bronzer also works amazing for anyone's regular day-to-day makeup, even without foundation, is great. What you don't want in bronzer is to contour with it, because you don't need to contour. What you don't want in bronzer is to change the color of your face. You're enhancing and you're adding a tint. Use a wide brush. I like to use a little rounded, a wide brush. And the way I choose the color is I pull it up to the face, and I could see right away that I need a little bit on her neck. So I'm going to use one that is going to just warm up Molly's neck. So it will literally blend everything together, because everybody is lighter under their neck. And this one is a little bit of the browner color I'm using. And by the way, when you use any kind of powdered shadows or bronzers, you dip the brush in, you tap it, you blow to get it off, and that way you don't make a mess on the skin. And also look at what bronzers you're using. A ton of powder is not coming out. So I like to use bronzers that are pressed really well, because then it's not all over. If you put your brush in, it's all over. It's not the greatest formula, and it just means whoever made it didn't press it enough. So again, you could use this to even out the skin. You could use it as a tint to the face. You could use it if a forehead needs to match the nose. And I start where the sun naturally hits, on the apple of the cheek. And the trick is you apply it up, but you also go down. So the majority of the bronzer, I'm using a heavier hand when I go right on Molly's cheeks. That's the heaviest press. And then I'm lightening up how hard I'm pressing, and I just gently put it over. And what I'm doing is I'm blending it in, so it's just almost like I'm giving her a retouching, which we all like. And what I also love about this is you could still see Molly's freckles. We're not covering them up, we're embracing them. I love freckles. I know some makeup artists draw them in, cute for a picture, not for real life. But Molly's freckles are great. But then I can also use more than one color. You know, makeup artists should have a few different tones. For women of color, you want deeper shades. Sometimes you might need red, sometimes you might need a little bit of yellow undertone. And for fair women, like the women that wear like an alabaster shade or like the palest color foundation, a touch of pinky. If you're that fair, never wear a bronzer that's yellow or bronze, because it's just gonna look dirty. Also, choose a bronzer that isn't shimmery. A shimmery bronzer, which I have here, is really nice, just as a little bit of highlight to the skin, but it's not your all over. You never wanna put some shimmer all over your face. That really just adds a little bit of a highlight. And also when choosing a shimmery bronzer, make sure that you're not going too white, that it just kind of is a little bit of an enhancement and really just goes up high into the cheekbone to give a little bit of a shimmer. You don't really have to blend it if you're choosing the right color. Now that is such an important detail, because if you have to blend it, it's the wrong color, or you've put too much on. The trick is to just put what you want. It's only going on the highlight of the cheek. I'm not using it on the forehead, nose, and chin. I know a lot of makeup artists do, and I know a lot of makeup artists put a shimmery highlight here. Personally, I don't know why, but makeup artists do it. They do it a little bit on the nose, but I'm someone that really just likes it on the high of the cheek. So again, a bronzer that's flat or matte and a bronzer that's shimmery, they're for two different things. And also make sure if you're a makeup artist, you have a range of colors. And if you're just a woman at home watching, 2 colors is really all you need. Kind of one that works on the neck and one that maybe is a little bit pinker if you need to kind of add a little bit of, awakeness to your makeup. And your brush should be wide. And the difference between a wide brush for bronzer and a blush brush, I will show you. So here's the difference between a bronzer brush and a blush brush. The bronzer brush is way too wide to be able to use on anyone's face because it would just be too much of blush. There are different formulas of bronzers. You can get a liquid formula bronzer that literally is a gel. A lot of men use that, and you could mix it with moisturizer. You could apply it. Just make sure you wash your hands because it stains. You can also use a creamy bronzer. Now this one is kind of a sheer but beautiful tone, and this will give you the glow. Where the highlighter was basically shimmer, this is just pure on crazy, crazy glow. And you could use this on days when you're not wearing any makeup. It just adds this really nice, natural, I've just been to Saint-Tropez look. And again, you apply it up into the hairline. I'm definitely blending it down. I'm looking at the top of it. And I love this because it's not powder, so it just gives a really nice dewiness. And I often wear this when I have no other makeup on, just this, and I always feel so much better. So that's bronzer. And blush, I mean, honestly, she doesn't really need it, but I just want to show you how to really apply blush, especially on top of bronzer. It's really up to you if you want to use a powder or you want to use a cream blush. I like using cream blush with my fingers on dry skin, and powder blush, you do need to have a little bit of a brush. And I'm choosing to use the cream right now because we just put cream on Molly's skin. And a really important thing, if you put powder blush on top of a creamy formula, it's not going to be easy to blend. So if you start with a cream, stick to a cream. And same thing with powder. I'm going to add just the teeniest bit of a pinky blush, and I just want to show you the different look. Just a little bit of pink. And everything I have put on her today is definitely not necessarily for every day, but it's just good to know what formulas work and how you use them. The best way to pick your blush color, it's so simple, is if you pinch your cheek and see the natural color it turns, or when you exercise, it's the color that your cheeks turn. That is the easiest way to pick a blush, but that's not the only thing that works. It also works if you feel like wearing a little bit of a peachy blush. If you're wearing a peach lipstick, sometimes that's really nice. Again, it's a lot of blush. I happen to like it. It's probably too much for some people, but you can still see Molly's freckles. There was a lot of blush, so you could use your fingers, but if you're a makeup artist like me, your fingers probably have a lot of things on there already, and so you can either wipe your hands and start all over and literally just, you're not wiping it off, you're blending it in, or you use a clean sponge, pat it, and just make sure that it looks natural. Another great thing you could do with cream blush, which is one of the reasons I like it so much, you could take the blush and just the teeniest bit, whatever's left on your finger, just apply it to your lip. And guess what? You're ready to walk out the door in 2 seconds. So when it comes to blush, my blush don't is don't overdo blush. Another really important blush don't is don't be afraid of it. If you are someone that doesn't love blush, there are very soft colors that are almost there. There are also different formulas that you could try if you're not sure. My blush don't is for sure getting rid of the small brush that comes with many of the compacts. They're usually, you know, those skinny, narrow ones. They don't work. I can't even get them to work. Get rid of those and make sure that you apply the blush to the apple of the cheek. Smile, find the apple of the cheek. That's the best application. Some of my do's, besides apple of the cheek, is do find a blush that just makes you look pretty. So when looking at Molly's face, I think she looks stunning. She looked beautiful when she came in. And when I look at her now, she doesn't have any eye makeup on. She really doesn't have, you know, much on her lips. And her skin looks amazing. There is a scar on her forehead, and I did not even choose to spend time covering it because, number one, I don't notice it. When someone has a scar, it's part of them. And if you are going to put makeup on it, then it's going to just look like makeup. I kind of just use it as part of the skin, and it's character. I like it. She's got freckles and she's got a scar. But guess what? When I look at Molly, I don't notice her scar. I noticed her freckles. I notice her eyes. And when this girl smiles, she's honestly infectious. Looking at Molly now, she can go anywhere. But what I love about the concealer, the foundation, the bronzer, the blush, and the highlighter, it looks like it's part of her. It's her makeup. And to me, that's what I call nude makeup. Nude makeup are colors that are right for your skin. I'm using a powdered bronzer, and I could see right away that this color is the right color that's going to turn this into one tone. Since it's a darker color, the trick is I'm only using it very, very light because it's easier to add more than it is to blend it in. Blend it all together. Okay, and then whatever's left on the brush, I'm going to use a little bit just to really make her look sun-kissed, and a bit of blush to her cheek. I love pink blush. Pink blush makes everyone look pretty. There's a lighter one, there's a duller one, and there's a deeper one. I am going with the deeper one because Anna's skin is darker. And I have to be honest, I grabbed a brush. It's not a blush brush, but it's kind of working. When you are doing blush or bronzer and it's powder or eyeshadow, blow, tap, get the excess off, especially if it's a formula you don't know. Smile. How you know that the foundation, concealer, bronzer, and blush works, she doesn't need anything else. She has no lipstick on, she has no eyebrows, she has no eyes on, and she looks absolutely gorgeous. And that's how you know that the colors you've chosen at this point are right. And honestly, it's like everything. If you have the right basics, the right concealer, the right foundation, the right everything, it's like having the right bra under your dress. You can't go with something that's not right, and this is a perfect start. One of the things that really drew me to Anna, because I think she's so beautiful, and I know she's going to smile again because she can't even believe I keep telling her this, was how naturally beautiful she looks. Like I love and fell in love with the white in her hair, for her, not for me, but she looks so great. And I love when she smiles, you see the little lines. Now, you know what? We have lines. Some of us don't because you've chosen to get rid of them. I have chosen to leave mine. She's chosen to leave hers. And that's okay. Whatever works for you. But you have to embrace yourself. You have to embrace your age. And you just have to make yourself look and feel better. And it's a job. And it really requires knowledge, and it requires a little bit of confidence and definitely a sense of humor. But I love these colors because her skin is really dark, and I wanted to just even out her skin, give her a healthy glow. But I wanted to make sure that when I chose the blush and I knew I wanted pinks, it was basically 3 or 4 pinks. But these were the 2 that I was looking at, and I went with the deeper one because the deeper one will create it won't be too bright on her skin. It'll just look like a bright color on someone who has lighter skin. But I just love the natural colors that bring out the color in her eyes. She actually looks to me like she's wearing eyeshadow. And so when I will choose her eyeshadow colors, I will look for the natural color that's there already. Same thing in her lips. She's got a little bit of lip balm on, and that's it. We haven't done her brows yet, and everything else looks so natural. But the pink colors, I think, really brought everything out and gave her a pop. I'm going to show you what a little bit of bronzer does to both make sure the neck and the face is the same color. Because when you're a makeup artist that works on sets or does weddings, what happens is when a flash goes off, if you've got makeup, foundation, makeup, moisturizer on your face, it's going to go bright on your face, but different on your body. So you want to use bronzer so when the flash goes off, it's the same color. And for you makeup artists out there who are learning how to do makeup for studio, even though I'm someone that believes you should wear sunscreen every day of your life, for studio work, don't use a foundation or a moisturizer with sunscreen because it's just going to create like an ashy on anyone's skin and make it look a little bit white. So for bronzer, there's so many different colors, but what I see is we need one color to warm it down here and then one a little bit on the face. And I chose a bronzer that has a little bit of warmth in it. Again, so it blends together the colors in her face on her neck. And there's nothing prettier than skin that has a beautiful glow. And that comes from moisturizer. And then I'm using it on the skin. So this becomes all one color. So when you are done with the makeup and the makeup settles, then you still have to look at it and see what needs to be covered. So right now I'm looking really at the overall effect, but then I'm gonna look and see if the spots could actually be covered a little bit more. Now, I learned makeup when there were not retouchers around, digital, photography. I learned where you actually had to get everything done perfectly. If an eyelash was stuck together, you had to see it. So that's why I make sure that things are as perfect as possible. And if you're a makeup artist that does location shoots, instead of lugging your entire kit when you leave a studio or a hotel room to go out. Sometimes just having something small around is way easier than lugging your whole kit everywhere you go. And a little powder on top of what you just did will lock it in place. So just always look. When you're a makeup artist, you just have to watch, and you have to make sure that everything is exactly the way it should be. So bronzer is a great way to just even out the skin, make sure everything is one color. But then choosing blush for women with dark skin or black skin, you have to pick the right color. It goes wrong if the color is too pastel, because then it makes the skin look ashy. There's choices for blush. Now, some women who have really dark skin might want to go with a deeper color. You also can go like up here on top. If you have, her skin is in the middle, so we can actually go brighter, which could be really pretty. I like to choose a blush that has a little bit of brightness and just not use a lot of it. Again, choosing blushes that are pressed hard, bronzers that are pressed hard are way easier. So see how pretty that looks? Now the rule that your blush should look like your cheeks when you pinch it doesn't work with everybody. If your skin is dark, you might not see the right color blush, but you really can't go wrong with a bit of a brighter color, especially how it's blended in. So you go on the apple of the cheek, smile. If you don't know where your apple is, it is right here. Go up into the hairline, take your brush down, and I just gently, without putting too much on, as I did with bronzer, put a little bit all over. Her skin is a little oily, but that doesn't mean you can't put a little bit of highlight on top. And I do this at the end when the skin is oily. Just gonna add a little bit of a glow. I'm adding a little bit of a shimmery oil because even though her skin is oily, I made sure that there wasn't a lot of oil. I'm using the shimmery oil just to give a highlight on the cheek, which I really love. Also on the chest, on the arms. And basically what happens when you use the oil with the little shimmery, glittery particles, it's just a sheen. And when the light hits it, it just is really, really pretty. This is great for photography. It's great for weddings. It's great when you're at the beach. I'm not someone that would suggest putting makeup on your legs, but a shimmery oil is really beautiful. On your arms. Just keep it away from the clothes because it's hard to get off. Look how good Andrea looks.